I'm so happy to be anchoring my first ever show with you.
Me too, Giselle. Nothing like a little girl power, and pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month to start off show 4. If you would like to donate to breast cancer research, the link can be found in the description down below. Any amount helps and can help save a life.
Today, we have coverage on Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Esports, a behind the scenes of our very own Link crew, and a special edition of Politi-Corner, all brought to you by the generous support of Rong Peking Duck.
We have a whole lot to cover, Giselle. Let's welcome everyone to show 4. Ask any senior and they'll tell you the college application process is super stressful. So juniors, if you want to be proactive and learn a little more before it's your turn, the junior counselors will be offering micro presentations covering reminders and information, how to read historical grades, and creating your very own college list. Google Meet codes will be sent out to your student email the morning of the presentation. Don't miss out. I promise it'll help you in the long run.
October may be known for its ghosts, ghouls, and goblins, but it's also a time to spread awareness of a terrifying disease. Sammy's here to talk about how people all over the United States show their ongoing support for those affected by breast cancer.
Many individuals unfortunately suffer from one of the most deadliest cancers of all, breast cancer. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an annual international health campaign organized by major breast cancer charities every October to increase awareness of the disease. Breast cancer is formed when breasts become mutated and leads to various symptoms such as bleeding, rashes, lumps, and more. Breast cancer is the #1 cause of cancer deaths for women. Approximately every 29 seconds, breast cancer is diagnosed in the world. About 1 in 8 women in the US will get breast cancer in their lifetime. 40,000 a year unfortunately don't survive. We sat down with Mrs. Vinalsdal to talk about the experience of being diagnosed with this deadly cancer.
And of course it affects you immediately. It really affects the people around you. It really forced us to look at what we had in life that was really good, and we took it as time to find joy in the little things. So I would say there were negative effects, but there were some positive effects as well.
People are raising awareness by donating to charities, educating others, and helping build morale for these suffering patients. There have also been virtual walkouts at places like City of Hope to spread awareness and support the cause. But if it wasn't for the pandemic, marches around the world would have taken place. People around the world assembling to spread awareness and support the cause for finding a cure and treatment is truly inspiring. These heartfelt actions truly help these patients who unfortunately suffer from this cancer. So take initiative and spread awareness to people around you. This has been Sammy, back to the anchors.
With the new quarter comes a new set of obstacles and challenges that you may need help facing. Luckily, the Wellness Center's got your back. Workshops to help your mental and physical health will be hosted every Monday. But if you just want to hang out and play some games, the Wednesday lunch session is just for you. You can visit the Wellness website for the Google code and specific times. Don't be afraid to reach out.
For decades, there's been a tense standoff between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the disputed territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. The past few months have seen hostilities flare up again between these two nations, the worst since 1994, the end of the initial conflict. Our thoughts are with all those affected. Be sure to tune in to next week's story of an in-depth analysis of what's been going on.
Faker, what was that? That was him not qualifying for Worlds. And now we're left wondering, with the empty throne at the top, who will the 2020 Worlds champion be? Let's run it down mid to catch up with Kevin with his predictions.
Pentakill.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. I was just running it down mid. Hey, catch up with me to the analyst desk. And welcome to the analyst desk. Today, we'll be discussing and analyzing which teams are making out of group stages and which teams are doing very well. Here are our analysts and their predictions.
So I think that G2 is definitely going to come out at group stage looking really strong because of their 1-3-1 split strategy that they've been using in past Worlds. So if you have a player like Calf, he can eventually give the team time and breathing room to take turrets and take objectives.
Thank you. I am rooting for Top Esports. Analyzing their gameplay, Top Esports dominated the map right from the very start of the game. Top Esports can definitely take the world title for China for 3 consecutive years.
The #1 team coming out of group stage is Damwon Gaming, and let me tell you why. Because they have the prodigal jungler, Canyon. You know why he's called Canyon? Because he creates the jungle gap. That's why Damwon is gonna win Worlds.
Listen, I'm gonna take a bold approach this year. I'm rooting for NA. More specifically, FlyQuest. They're mainly trash in the early game, and their late game, at least they're able to make trades and somewhat close out games. So it may not look like 100%, but come on, NA.
Tune in next week to see more analysis and predictions. This has been Kevin. Stay safe, stay strong, and let's see who will take over this year's World's Championship.
How do you like anchoring so far, Giselle?
You know, it's not too bad. It actually gave me an excuse to do my hair today.
I totally feel that. Nowadays, any day is a good day when I can get changed out of my pajamas and put on a little mascara.
Agreed. And that top is so cute. You'll have to tell me where you got it from when we go on break. Link Crew is an on-campus organization that fostered unity and friendship within the freshman class. Let's go over to Felix to see how they're still maintaining that community during the pandemic.
Link Crew hosts various events throughout the year to help new students transition successfully into high school. Let's now take a look at how Link Crew has continued to help and engage freshmen into AHS during this virtual school year.
Link Crew is the organization on campus that helps incoming freshmen get adjusted to high school life. And we also help new students throughout the year kind of just get associated with our KEI.
Link Crew meet every day during period 5. Student Link Crew leaders organize activities.
Link Crew would host events for freshmen, such as homecoming tailgate, freshman lunch meetings, and freshman movie night. And these would basically be for freshmen to, get a little bit more involved in our KEI high school. And we would also occasionally host all-school events such as holiday photo booth and also hold staff appreciations.
Due to the current COVID situation, Link Crew has continued to plan and engage new students in high school by doing various online activities.
So Link Crew is still kind of doing what it would before, but just in a virtual setting. So we've already had a staff appreciation, we've had a freshman meeting, which is done virtually, and we're still planning events. Again, we're trying to make them safe, but also interactive and fun for the freshmen.
Even though Link Crew has been facing different challenges with conducting activities online, Link Crew they've always been trying their best to provide comfort and to be the mentors for freshmen during this time. Don't forget to follow Link Crew on social media such as Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. But for now, this has been Felix, back to Giselle and Clara.
High school memories and photos can last a lifetime, and one of the best ways to leave your mark is with a solid senior quote and a vote casted for senior superlatives. Seniors, be sure to get yours in by Friday, October 23rd at 11:59 p.m. I can't wait to see them.
Misinformation, campaign ads, and heated debates are in the air as the 2020 election ramps up in the final weeks before America votes. Lawrence and Riley are here with a panel of guests to discuss major election issues on APN's premier political segment, Politi-Corner.
Hello Arcadia and welcome to Politi-Corner's 2020 election panel. I'm Lawrence Sung.
And I'm Riley Kovacev. Joining us today is Evelyn Lowe, a senior who is our liberal commentator, and Jack Wang, a senior who is our conservative commentator. By the way, thank you to our guests for wearing pink for the show today.
The 2020 election season winding down to its final weeks, there is definitely a lot to talk about. For now, let's start with the Supreme Court. So, Evelyn, how will the impending change within the Supreme Court affect the future of American politics, and how should the public feel about this shift?
That's a great question, Lawrence. Thank you so much for asking. Well, obviously, we know that Amy Barrett is the Supreme Court nominee. So if she is confirmed, the court is definitely going to have a very conservative tilt. She's known for her desire to overturn Roe v. Wade, get rid of the Affordable Care Act, and she is against gun control. But more importantly, I really want to stress her inability to separate religion from her decisions in courts of law. So in 1998, she actually wrote and published a law review where she talks about how, as a judge, she has to consider her Catholic values while making her decisions, which inherently violates the separation of church and state foundation that the country really stresses, because religion has no place in a court of law. So in terms of how the public should feel, I feel like you should feel very scared, especially if you're a woman, especially if you cannot afford healthcare, and especially if you are LGBTQ+.
All right, Jack, you'll start off on this one. Can you please explain the importance that COVID-19 will have on this election in terms of the Trump administration's handling of the pandemic, state responses, and most importantly, Trump's most recent diagnosis?
Well, people tend to think of Trump as the sole culprit of COVID-19 deaths, but I do believe that that's not entirely true, because as we can see in Michigan, Governor Whitmer is concealing a lot of COVID-19 deaths regarding comorbidities and also nursing home deaths. And this does make up a heavy portion of the total COVID deaths. And Trump is not to blame because he does not have jurisdiction over these state-run policies. Biden also advocated for reopening the borders 3 weeks after Trump closed it. And that's definitely going to cause more deaths. And no one is talking about it. Trump is not the sole culprit of people dying because of COVID-19.
All right. And finally, is there a need to reform the justice system in this country? And is defunding the police the right way to do this? We go to Evelyn for her response.
Yeah, so I think there definitely is a need to reform the justice system because in the status quo, a lot of minorities are being thrown in jail for crimes that their white counterparts get a slap on the wrist for, and especially the Black community has to deal with police brutality. However, I don't believe that defunding the police is actually at all feasible because America is largely still moderate to right-leaning, and there's still that perception that the police are there to protect us from crime. There's also a really negative connotation around defunding. People think that it means abolishing or cutting resources from the police, but rather it actually entails reallocating those funds into community services to help reduce crime at its root cause. For example, cutting funds from the police department would mean reallocating them into homeless services or other mental health services that would stop crime at its root cause. That is something that I can agree with, and Arcadia actually is doing a really good job with that.
Well, what Evelyn said is partially true in the sense that defunding the police is not feasible. And they did try it. Again, in state-run policies, they did try to defund the police. And in New York, crime rates skyrocketed over 100% after doing so. And what I will say in that regard is that defunding police is definitely not the way to go. However, justice reforms is indeed necessary. What I mean by that is we have some of the highest incarceration rates in all of the world, and that's definitely not a positive sign. We're throwing people in jail and incriminating them for small petty crimes. However, the Black community is definitely not over police, and they're not necessarily suffering from the police brutality that you're indoctrinated to believe. Again, I do support the Black Lives Matter movement, but not the organization. Their manifesto on their website states that they want to abolish the police system and the nuclear family structure. And that's something I definitely do not agree with.
Thanks, Jack. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you all the panelists for sharing your input on some of the major political issues of today. Tune into APN within the following weeks for more 2020 election coverage.
Wow, that was super informative. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day and sharing your thoughts with us. And thank you guys for tuning into this week's show. Be sure to follow us on all our social media links down below. Like, comment, and subscribe.
A big thank you to Rong Peking Duck for sponsoring this week's show. Make sure to show your student ID card for 5% off your next order there. And if you would like to sponsor one of our weekly shows, you can contact the email down below. This has been Clara.
And this has been Giselle.
We'll see you next week, Arcadia.